Go.
Welcome to the street. Awesome. And that's about it. Come back to this tutorial scenario if you need a quick refresher.
Let's start again and...
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good.
No. Let's stop and turn on info.
Now you try while stopping at the intersection and waiting.
Let's stop and turn on.
We've brought up icons to...
Let's stop and turn on.
We've brought up icons.
Let's use drone.
We've brought up icons.
There's a school.
We've brought up icons.
Let's tackle this hat.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's use drone.
We've brought up icons to remind...
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's stop and turn on.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good. Now,
Let's stop and...
we've brought up icons to remind you of...
Let's stop and turn.
We've brought up icons to
Let's stop and turn off.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's stop and turn.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good.
Let's use drone.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good. Now you try scanning those areas. Good. Good.
Let's stop and...
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons.
Let's stop.
We've brought up
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what...
Let's stop. And
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan...
let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Now you try scanning those areas.
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's stop. And
We've
looking
brought
at
up
the
icons
vehicle
to
like
remind you of what to scan
Taxi
for.
cab. And let's stop. And
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan.
let's stop and turn
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good.
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Let's...
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan.
Let's stop.
We've brought up icons to remind you of...
Let's stop and...
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to...
let's...
We've brought up icons...
In this situation, now you try. Tap on the pedestrian to show you've seen them. Remember to read the pedestrian's body language, anticipate their actions, and respond appropriately.
Good.
Good. You've spotted the potential hazard. Now let's adjust our speed to avoid a collision and maintain our space cushion. Tap the Adjust Speed button and scan your space cushion. Well done. You've successfully avoided a collision and maintained your space cushion. If you stay alert, anticipate, and respond promptly, you will be ready for unpredictable situations like this. In this scenario, your task is to spot the driver in the parked car and anticipate the opening of the car door. Ready? Now you try. Tap the spot where the driver's head would be to show you've seen them, and remember to look out for brake lights.
And then...
Good. Good.
Great, you've spotted the potential hazard. Now, to protect your space cushion, let's adjust our speed and trajectory to give us time to respond. Tap the Adjust Speed button.
Good.
Excellent. By slowing down and scanning for hazards, you've avoided the door zone and maintained your space cushion. Remember that as an e-scooter user, it's important to always be vigilant and ready to react to unexpected situations. You are traveling.
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Great job.
Now you
You've
try
identified the
scanning those
cyclists,
areas.
adjusted your speed, and prepared for a lane change. Remember that recognizing the cyclists is crucial as you move towards the merge lane of the on-ramp. Keep track of where they're going and give them at least 1.5 meters of space. The faster you recognize and react to the cyclists' movements, the greater the amount of space you can give them. As a road user,
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good.
great
now
work.
you try
You've
scanning those
demonstrated good
areas.
awareness and responded to a potentially dangerous situation. Remember to anticipate the actions of other road users, especially at
Keep
intersections.
trying.
Stay vigilant and be prepared to react quickly to ensure the safety of yourself and others. As a driver,
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to
great.
scan
By
for.
slowing down,
Now
you
you
allow
try
yourself the
scanning those
time and
areas.
space to better see the potential dangers of this situation. An experienced driver knows that when driving near parked cars, it's essential to anticipate potential hazards and adjust your speed accordingly. In this situation,
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan.
in this situation,
We've brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good. Good.
good. You've safely pulled over to the side of the road. Now, what is your next step?
Good.
Excellent. Turning your radio down or off will let you hear the traffic and environment around you and reduce the chances of causing serious harm. What else should you take care of?
Good.
Amazing work. These small changes can make a massive impact and save lives, including yours. Remember that you share the road with others. When driving, stay focused on driving and keep distractions to a minimum.
Did I miss one? No, I just didn't split.
In rural areas, as the driver, you should yield to the
Oh,
As
shit,
the driver,
that's
you
not
should
us.
yield to the pedestrian waiting to cross. Slowing down will expand your space cushion and allow you to take note of them. You are approaching an unmarked crossing. Scan the ground to indicate that you have spotted the intersection.
It's like,
Good.
Good. Slowing down will allow you to take the situation in full.
Good.
Now that you stopped, you can make eye contact with the pedestrian.
Good.
Great job. You spotted the pedestrian waiting to cross. An experienced driver knows that there can always be something or someone waiting at an intersection, and stopping at unmarked crossings is vital. We're looking at a Good. You've identified the icy road conditions. Can you see the pedestrians?
Good.
That's it. You've spotted the pedestrians. Now scan the truck.
Good.
Well done. You've noticed the oncoming truck. Be sure to slow down.
Good.
Excellent. You've safely come to a complete stop, allowing you to see a path around the pedestrians and oncoming truck. Now that you've seen the path around the pedestrians, use the Change Lanes button to move around them.
Good.
Great work. Being aware of road users, especially more vulnerable ones like pedestrians, will help you make informed decisions and respond appropriately to the situation. Driving on gravel, you should scan the road to check
Good.
for ruts or dust piles that could catch your wheels.
trying
If you
to-
lose control of your vehicle, remember to take your foot off the gas, look, and steer in the direction you want to go.
Good.
Good. Now, in preparation for slowing down, you should also check your rearview mirror. You should avoid braking too hard or steering too aggressively to maintain control of your vehicle.
Good.
Great. Now that you've slowed down, you can see that the traffic ahead of you requires more room to pass on this road.
I can try.
Good.
Good. The space between you and the oncoming
I'm in a run.
traffic is limited. You need to slow down to pass safely and may
Okay,
even
help?
need to move
What is
over
this
further
mean?
to the
I'm on
right.
PB pace.
Occasionally, you may encounter larger vehicles
pace.
like
I'm on PB
semis or
pace and
logging
street
trucks.
sense.
In these cases, you should pull over completely to allow the
Oh,
large vehicle to
PB.
pass.
Good.
Excellent. Now that you've moved over to the side of the road, you and the oncoming traffic have enough space to
Okay.
pass safely. Learning to share the road and anticipate dangers will allow you to navigate tricky
Stomach
situations
hurts.
like this. When in doubt, pull over to allow other vehicles to pass and, as always, maintain a safe driving distance. In this situation, remember to slow down, look out for road signs, and prepare to adjust your vehicle's path when driving along curved roads such as this.
Good.
Can you spot the chevron signs?
Spot the chevron signs.
Good.
Great. Now that you see them, what should you do next?
Slow down.
Good.
Safe driving is about anticipation, preparedness, and respect for road conditions. Drivers must constantly be aware of their space cushions, adjusting their speed as needed to keep it at a safe level.
This could be sub 12 maybe.
In this situation,
Brought up
well done.
icons to remind
You've
you of what to
safely
scan
navigated
for.
through the puddle and
Now
averted a
you try
potential
scanning those
accident.
areas.
In this scenario, here are
I've
the
run out of
steps you need
mobile
to take in this
games to
situation.
play.
First, you should be
You should
facing the
download
oncoming
Street Sense
traffic
too.
so you can better see what's coming
Join the
towards you.
speedrun community.
Good.
Great.
I'd rather
Now,
kill
look for the
myself.
oncoming car and tap it
I
to
just
show
need
you've seen
fun.
it.
I'm not gonna
Good
become a
job.
speedrunner,
Walking
bro.
toward the oncoming
Bro, it's
traffic
fine.
lets you see their headlights and
Dude,
respond
speedrunners
quickly if
literally are
needed.
always like, bro, I'm a
But remember
speedrunner and I
that
want to
even
kill
with this
myself.
precaution, you must still remain vigilant and prepared to
Like,
move
literally
further
everyone
to
that
the left,
runs
out
is,
of the
like,
way of
so
traffic
miserable.
if a vehicle
No,
comes
I'm not
close.
miserable. Benny's
Good.
not miserable.
Well done. If you hear
I
a
mean,
car
like-
coming, safely
Do you know
step
who,
further to
Well-
the left and continue to face the oncoming traffic.
Do you even know
Surveying
who
your
I am?
surroundings increases safety when walking
I used
along
to be the
foggy
third
rural
best
roads
mullet
at
match
night.
Fuck you
player in the
doing?
world.
Drivers
You
and
know who I
pedestrians
am.
should be
I
aware of
used
their
to be the
surroundings and
top
act
third
responsibly
best
to
mullet
prevent a
match player
collision.
in the world.
Okay, cool.
In
That
this
means nothing to
situation-
me.
Brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for. Good. Now you
For that.
This fucking graduation
The
card
challenge
better have
here-
money in it.
brought up icons to remind you of what to scan.
Be pissed off.
While driving,
Good. Brought up icons to remind you of what to scan for.
Is that evil? It's not, right?
Welcome to the Street Sense test. We'll take
I'm
you
just
through
like-
several scenarios in the test and
know,
play
why
a
would you
chime
just-
after each one. You won't get hints.
bruh.
We'll watch you and then
Maybe I'm
give you a
tweaked,
full
but like, I
report
don't know.
on how you
That's
did
like
when
kind of
it's
the
all
only
over.
reason I'm looking forward
Just
to
like
graduation.
before, use the cameras and select a vehicle to begin.
That's the only reason I'm having a party. It's because I wish I could get money out of it.
Come on, RNG.
Graduation tomorrow.
I know.
Fucked up.
Shit, split 50.
Shit's fucked up. I was practice or whatever.
I was late, so I didn't go.
Sasha. Sasha.
Fuck. This run is gonna be awful now. It was. Yeah.
Dude. Mr. K is gonna chew you out for that.
No, I didn't email him even.
Oh my god. You're awful. You know, you're gonna have to do the, like, chromatic shit next year.
I'm not gonna have to.
Well, like, I mean, if it
Knowing
stays
when to slow
alive, I mean,
down.
who the fuck else do they